Late Mrs. Evangeline Adebayo Adelaja was born at Ijebu-Ode into the royal family of Oba Ese Adebonojo II, the Dagburewe of Idowa, Ijebu, on the 24th of February 1927. She was the granddaughter of the late Dr. Joseph Odumosu, pioneer of Christianity in Ijebu land and a renowned pharmacologist and author of Iwe Iwosan. She attended Ijebu-Ode Girls' School, Girls' Seminary, Lagos, United Missionary College, UMC, Ibadan, and University of London Institute of Education. She was a student of distinction throughout her career. She passed the Professional Teachers Examination in 1947 with flying colors. Amongst her numerous classmates were the Kuye twins, Mrs. Morgan, late Mrs. Wura Delano ni Alalade, late Mrs. Omotayo Omoowo, and late Malam Aminu Kano. She was an avid netball player and a keen soccer fan. On May 11th, 1948, she married the Reverend, later Archdeacon Benaya Adeleke Adelaja. They proceeded to CMS Grammar School, Lagos in 1948. She taught at the CMS Girls' School in Lagos for a number of years, followed by services at Antioch Girls' School and also at Methodist Girls' High School. She founded Girls' Secondary Modern School in Bariga and later the Girls' Secondary Grammar School Bagada, now known as Eva Adelaja Girls' Secondary Grammar School, with Mrs. V.O. Onofowokon as the pioneering principal.
Late Mrs. Adelaja, Mommy, as she was fondly called, was such a great inspiration to us. As the founder of the school, she supported the school with everything that God had given her, and she was so anxious that the school should develop. She was not one of the money-minded people, and what we have today is a great and worthy legacy to this great woman.
Mama was loving, gentle, hardworking, really very hardworking, and she has inculcated all this attitude even into the lives of these children she nurtured at Evadelaja Girls' Secondary Grammar School.
Late Mrs. Adelaja met Queen Elizabeth II during the centenary celebrations of the Mothers' Union in 1976. In 1980, she attended the Ecumenical Conference in Los Angeles, California, USA, under the umbrella of the Interdenominational Christian Women Association and World Day of Prayer Incorporated. She was one of the matrons of the Ladies Friendly Society of Cathedral Church of Our Savior Itala Joda Ijebu-Ode since its inception in 1963. She was also the matron of Ladies Workers Union of Holy Trinity Church Ebutero, local president of Diocesan Mothers Union and Diocesan Women's Guild in 1976 to 1982. She also belonged to a group of dedicated clergy wives known as the Association of Seven Sisters, which includes Mrs. Adeniyi, Mrs. Adeshola, Mrs. Akintemi, Mrs. Oredugba, Mrs. Oshisonya, and Mrs. Shegun.
Auntie Mrs. Eva Bayo Adelaja is a very good woman. She's a fantastic mother, a good confidant, and one who is interested in the youth. I happened to live with her when I was doing my post-school certificate course in Queen's College, after leaving CMS Girls' School, where she herself was a teacher. And I lived with her, I lived with her brother, Muiwa, the other brother, Detola, her husband's brother, Docu. So we were all together like a family. And she was very protective of the girls under her care. She was mindful of the boys we go out with. She would call them and give them cross-examination. I remember the incident of a boy who was trying to chase me, as we used to say in those days. So she said, come here, young man. What's your name? The man said, I'm Funsho. I said, you are Funsho. What is your class in the grammar school? He said, I'm just finished my school, sir. I said, oh, so you are one of those who passed. Then he said, well, I dropped. So auntie said, you dropped. Who is your friend among my sisters here? He said, Tinuke. Said, you know, Tinuke had a second class in school, sir, with exemption from London Maths. Oh, Lodo, Mawabimo. So she drove that one away. And then I remember there was Taiba, a cousin of hers, living with her too. We call her T Black now. She was black like me, but she's much fairer now, fairer than that now. She had a boyfriend, and the boyfriend used to whistle at the back of the wall at the grammar school. You good, Taiba. So auntie got to know. I said, you're going to do a coup on Taiba today. I said, what would the coup be like? He said, I will send her to go and be doing some work for me upstairs, and then we'll get some water and climb over the wall. And as soon as the boy whispers, as signals that he's around by whistling, you good, Taiba, I should say, yes. So we all went there. He was behind me carrying the bowl of water. As soon as we had the whistle, she gave me the bowl of water, and I climbed over the wall. And I told the boy to move nearer the wall, thinking it was Taiba he was talking to. So he moved nearer, and then I poured the water over the boy. And he ran away. Then he knew that it couldn't have been Taiba who did that to him. Those were the pranks we played under her care.
Late Mrs. Evangeline Adebayo Adelaja belonged to many service, social and philanthropic organizations, including the Inner Wheel Club of Lagos, in which she was a past president, the Girls Guide, International Women's Society, the Lagos Horticultural Society, and so many others. She was a member of the Board of Governors of Idowa Comprehensive School. She was an executive of the former Mushin Town Council. She was a real mother in Israel and was blessed with many natural children and grandchildren, as well as numerous adopted ones.
Well, my mother was, she was really a wonderful woman. She taught us many things. I learned so many things from her. She was a very organized woman. She was very industrious. For her generation, she was a jet age woman. She was indeed very fashionable, and we really thank God for her life, because her life really influenced ours, and her example is responsible for what we all are today. We thank God for her. She also taught us the way of the Lord, which is the greatest gift that she could have passed on to her children. We thank God for her life.
Late Adelaja was first and foremost my sister, before she eventually became my mother-in-law, and mother in fact, you know. And she was a very organized woman, tidy and meticulous in everything she did. From the word go, in fact, like I said, she was my sister. Her brother, Detola Adibonojo, was my best friend when we were growing up in the as far as back as 1940, 41. I knew Detola very well. And sister has always been my sister. So I knew her very well. And I could testify to the fact that she was a fantastic human being, and who actually in the end of her life was prepared to meet her God, because I think she felt she'd done the best she could do.
She couldn't do anything without high quality, and we all knew that, and we tried to live up to her standard. She's an admirable woman. You cannot but admire her. She's loving, extremely generous, and above all, she was a committed Christian.
nífẹ̀ẹ́ èèyàn wọ́n dẹ̀ máa ń kó èèyàn mọ́ra wọ́n dẹ̀ máa ń fún mi ní àmọ̀ràn lóríṣiríṣi tí n bá fẹ́ ro nǹkan kan wá sọ fún mi pé kí n má ronú o kò sí nǹkan kan kí n máa ṣiṣẹ́ mi lọ wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe láìkì mi náà láìkì ọmọ mi tán láìkì gbogbo fámìlì mi kò sí nǹkan kan tí màá béèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn tí wọ́n ò ní ṣe fún mi wọ́n jẹ́ ìyá rere ìyá tó dáa ni wọ́n ìgbé ayé rere ni wọ́n gbé wọ́n dẹ̀ gbégbé ayé àlàáfíà wọ́n fẹ́ràn gbogbo anybody.
Was a deep humanist. She cared deeply about people, and the things that she cared about, she cared deeply about those things. And she was a woman of God. In spite of her flamboyance, in spite of the way she was so fashionable, in fact, my friends, when I first got married, used to joke and say, you can't beat Mama, you are just coming behind. She was I would say she had it all because she had God in her life. And I remember she would come to me when I first got married and said, "Má gbàgbé ibi tó ti wá o, má dẹ̀ gbàgbé ibi tó ń lọ." And I asked her one day, I said, "What do you mean by that?" She said, "You know that heaven is home. We are all just strangers here." And this was very interesting because the last few years of her life, I think, whatever it was, I always think back and feel that probably Mommy sort of knew that the end was near. And I could not get over the simplicity that really seemed to have descended on her. Mommy that was very flamboyant, used the best jewelry, the latest. She became very simple. She had just one crucifix on her neck. And, you know, I felt there has been a change there. And it was evident to the people who were very close to her. It was as if the simpler, the better. And it's very evident in some of the things, some of the poems she composed and things that we found amongst her things after she passed away. So to come back to your question, I think she was a great example of what a mother should be. Somebody who had the secular outlook, related to everyone, and someone who also had the deepest values, related most importantly to her God. Because those two are not incompatible with each other. And one final note, Mommy was not popular with everybody. She had her share of people who did not agree with her views, because life is not a popularity contest. But 10 years after her death, I think even people who maybe did not like her respect her. And I think it's also important to keep that in mind. So I learned a lot from Mom. I'm proud to be her daughter. I'm proud of the type of life she lived. And I'm proud of the legacy she left behind. The children, the grandchildren especially, talk about her all the time. They feel that a lot of the things they are now enjoying were due to her labors. Mommy was a visionary. She thought about things and took action on them. She wasn't a dreamer. So that, I can go on and on as you can see, but let's just say that Mommy was great.
Very active lady. She's right there when you need her, very supportive. We traveled to many interesting places like Rome, Italy, Beirut, Jerusalem, and America. Of course, England is her second home. She's a very interesting lady. She owns the school, and the school is still there now. She's a very organizer, as I said. All her activities are inherited by her children. had 2 daughters and 3 boys. 3 men who say they are very active with their mother. She was married to a reverend gentleman. She was very religious. She led many Christians activities in the church, and our children are following the footsteps.
I'm delighted to have been given an opportunity to pay this tribute to Sister Bayo Adelaja. I call her Sister Bayo affectionately, and she was indeed my sister, even though we were just cousins through the Yadera Tunwashe ruling house. Sister's affection for me and all that belonged to me had been so exceeding that I hardly know how I could repay back.
Well, I really got my start as an educator from both my parents. Both dad and mom were educators. One of the things that I learned from mom was being very, very calm in dealing with people. I also learned that when you are dealing in the field of education and research, you're doing things that have a great deal of long-term influence on people. I learned from mom that education is being in the people's business. You can't afford to be selfish. I'd say that the qualities that I picked up from mom have really helped me. I'm a dean of the largest College of Agriculture in the United States, actually the 3rd largest in the United States, with a staff of in several hundreds and students in the thousands. And being steady when all else is falling apart around you is one of the qualities that I think I learned from mom.
Because she was an embodiment of beauty, reality, and in fact, rather than call her a mother-in-law, I call her mommy, because she was very, very nice to me as a person, and she treated me like a son, not like a son-in-law, in all ways, in all ramifications, and she actually assisted me when I had problems. So for that, one must give thanks to her life. Whenever you saw her, she was an embodiment of beauty, the way she dressed, the way she presented herself, and the way she even carried herself. And as a matter of fact, the children she had, which one of them happened to be my wife, it's a reflection of the family background that she bestowed on the Adelaja family. And we give thanks for her life. And as we remember her today, we must give glory to God for that. We are still here. And we also remember Papa, who is still with us, and we wish you many more happy years.
She's a very nice person, very understanding, and very kind, very thoughtful, and she was very, very nice.
I remember how kind and loving she was, how I used to come to her house almost every Sunday, and she used to take us out at times. And I remember traveling with her once with my sister Ayo, and I just remember how kind she was.
Well, what did Nika used to tell you about her?
She used to tell me that she's a very nice grandmother and many things about her.
Like what?
She used to tell me that when she was alive, that she used to give her so many things, and she really misses her.
And she did what?
Really misses her.
Okay, so you miss her too?
Yes.
You do? Oh, that's nice of you.
Already, she's a good mother, and a good grandma, a good daughter, a good mother.
You